The 7-7 portal has opened. And before you think this is just another pretty date on the spiritual calendar, I need to show you something. The last 3 days of your life have not been normal. You know this. There were nights when you slept but didn't rest. Your body stopped, but your mind kept spinning in circles, replaying old conversations, picking at wounds you swore you'd already closed. There were moments in the middle of the day while working or driving or simply standing in line when a strange sensation passed through your chest, a nameless pressure, as if something was about to change and your body knew before your mind did. Thoughts have returned, always the same ones, about a decision you're postponing, about a person you need to let go of, about a path you know you should have taken months ago. This is not a coincidence. This is not the YouTube algorithm throwing you a random video at 2 a.m. This is the field shifting, and your nervous system sensing the approach of a threshold before your consciousness can even name it. Today is July 7th, and at this very moment, there are 2 humanities watching this video, or rather there are 2 ways of experiencing this day. The first is the sleeping majority. For these people, this restlessness I just described has a simple explanation. It's work stress, it's the changing weather, it's a bad night's sleep, it's too much coffee. They will feel the day's energy, because everyone feels it, no one escapes it. But they will attribute the symptom to the wrong cause. They'll take a pill for anxiety. They'll scroll through their feed for another 2 hours trying to numb the discomfort. They'll argue with someone at home because the irritation needs to go somewhere, and by the end of the day, the window will simply close. No drama, no warning. It will close, and these people will continue tomorrow exactly where they were yesterday, stuck in the same cycle, waiting for next year to feel this same pressure again, without ever understanding what it was about. The second humanity is the minority. And if you've made it this far, if you haven't given up in the first 10 seconds, it's because some part of you already knows you belong to this group. I'm not talking about the chosen few, or mystics, or people more evolved than others. I'm talking about people who, at some point in their lives, have built the internal infrastructure necessary to transform sensation into information, instead of transforming sensation into distraction. This infrastructure is not a birthright. It's training. It's applied consciousness. And that is precisely what we will build together in the next few minutes, because the 7-7 portal does not forgive those who arrive unprepared, but generously rewards those who arrive present. Let's first understand what this portal actually is, because the word portal carries an almost science fiction weight, and that confuses more than it helps. Forget the image of a rift opening in the sky. The 7-7 portal is a point of energetic convergence. It's the moment when 3 lines that normally run separately, your spiritual cycle, your emotional cycle, and your energetic cycle, intersect at the same coordinate in time. Think of 3 gears turning at different speeds within a machine. For most of the year they turn misaligned, each at its own pace, and that's why you feel your life as a succession of loose events, without a connecting thread. But on certain dates, and today is one of them, these gears click into place. And when gears click into place, the entire machine gains a different torque. That's why today, the 7th day of the 7th month, so many people around the world report the same thing, regardless of culture, religion, or language, a feeling of simultaneous closure and opening. Closure of a cycle that has fulfilled its function. Opening of a space that does not yet have a defined shape. This is not decorative numerology. It is systems physics applied to consciousness. Every living system, your body, your mind, the planet itself, operates in cycles. And every cycle, when it reaches its point of greatest tension, creates a crack. It is through this crack that new light enters. July 7th is one of those cracks in the fabric of the year. But be warned, a crack is an opportunity, not a guarantee. It exists for those who know how to approach it with receptivity. And it will pass by, whole and untouched, for those who insist on going through the day on autopilot, treating this sense of shift as an annoyance to be silenced rather than a sign to be deciphered. And here I need to de-romanticize an idea that quietly sabotages almost everyone who hears about spiritual portals. The idea that the universe will descend and solve your life for you today. It won't. A portal is not an astronomical event that changes your reality while you sleep. A portal is the turning point where the cost of remaining stuck in your current life finally becomes greater than the terror of taking the next step. It is at this exact point that most people confuse spirituality with passivity. They think it's enough to light a candle, make a wish, and wait. But true spiritual architecture works the opposite way. You take the step, and only then does the ground appear beneath your feet. Never before. The universe does not build the bridge for you to cross while standing still, observing. It builds the bridge as you walk. Keep this sentence because it will accompany you for the rest of this video. The portal is not about what will happen to you today. It's about the decision you make in the face of what is already happening within you now. Comment ready if you feel this window has already begun within you, even before I finish explaining what it is. This comment is not just a loose word, it is an energetic declaration, a marker that you are present and not just watching from the outside. Now about the first hours of today, and this is crucial, because the way you navigate the morning of July 7th determines how much of the portal's frequency you can absorb before routine swallows everything again. The first hours after waking are the moment when the mind is still on the threshold between sleep and wakefulness, between the unconscious and the conscious. It is in this crevice, precisely in this narrow crack of time, that intuition speaks loudest, because the rational filter has not yet finished activating all its defense systems. If during this period you pick up your phone and dive straight into notifications, messages, news, social media, you are literally overlaying external noise on top of the only moment of the day when the internal signal was clearest. It's like trying to hear an important whisper while turning the radio up to maximum volume. The whisper is still there, but you will never know what it said. Therefore, the recommendation for this morning is radical in its simplicity. Protect the first few minutes. It's not about doing a 2-hour ritual with candles and incense. That's decoration, not substance. It's about creating a space of real silence, even if it's only 10 or 15 minutes, where you introduce no external stimulus, no screen, no music, no conversation. Just you, your breath, and the permission for any thought, image, or sensation to rise to the surface without you judging it or pushing it back down. It is in this silence that the portal speaks. It does not shout. It never shouts. It whispers through an image that comes back, through a sudden urge to call someone, through a clarity that appears out of nowhere about a decision you've been postponing for months. If your day begins in noise, this message arrives, but it dissolves before being heard, like a letter that arrives but no one opens it. And it is precisely here, at the point where most people need structure the most and know the least where to find it, that I want to tell you about something I built exactly for this kind of moment. Many people feel this opening, feel that something is changing, but they don't. There's a map for transforming that feeling into real direction, and without a map, the energy dissipates in a few days, and the person returns to the same old place. That's why I prepared Magia M28 Exercicios as 28. Chaves do Despertar for you. It's a 28-day journey, a full lunar cycle, designed for those who feel they are different, who are tired of walking in the dark, and who need a structured path to recognize their soul's own signs, integrate the shadow that insists on sabotaging, and transform restlessness into practical direction. This is not another course of empty positivity. It's the structure that prevents what you felt today from becoming just another beautiful memory in 2 weeks. In the first pinned comment of this video, you'll find the access. Comment "Eu estou pronta" if you feel this is the moment to stop feeling the portal and start truly crossing it. Returning to what matters now, if you protected or are going to protect on your first hours, the next step is to understand exactly what sabotages the use of this energy throughout the rest of the day. Because there are recurring, almost universal spiritual mistakes that make a person feel the portal's power pass by them like wind against a closed window. They feel the movement from the outside, but nothing enters. The first mistake is trying to control the outcome. It's the person who, feeling that something is changing, immediately tries to decide what that change should be. They want the portal to bring a specific answer. the return of a relationship, the confirmation of a professional choice, a clear sign that they are on the right path. But the energy of a portal doesn't work on demand. It opens space. It doesn't deliver a script. When you approach it with the outcome already drawn in your head, you close the door through which the true message could enter, because you're too busy holding onto the door you yourself imagined. The second mistake is seeking external validation. It's asking everyone around, "Are you feeling this too?" It's searching other people's feeds for confirmation that the feeling is real, instead of simply trusting your own perception. This diverts energy that should be focused inward and throws it outward, in a relentless search for approval that is never satisfying, because the answer you seek will never come from outside. It only exists within. The third mistake is autopilot. It's going through the day exactly like all the other days. Same route, same complaints, same automatic reactions to the same old provocations, without stopping, not even for a second, to notice that today is different. Autopilot is the #1 enemy of any spiritual opening, because it is designed precisely to save energy by repeating patterns, and a portal demands the exact opposite: active presence, renewed attention, willingness to notice what normally goes unnoticed. The fourth mistake, perhaps the most silent and destructive of all, is remaining trapped in unresolved emotional conflicts. It's carrying into today the same old hurt, the same old resentment, the same old raw wound, and letting it occupy the center of attention, draining all the energy that could be available for clarity. A portal amplifies what is already present within you. If what is present is unresolved conflict, the portal will only make that conflict louder, more jarring, more impossible to ignore. And the person, instead of using this amplification as a signal to finally resolve what needs to be resolved, drowns even further in it. All these four mistakes have a common root. They divert attention from the true purpose of the portal, which was never to give you ready-made answers, but to generate inner clarity. Clarity is not the same as an answer. Clarity is the ability to see clearly what is already before you, including what you've been avoiding seeing for months. And that is precisely why structuring this process makes all the difference. Remember Magia M28 exercicios that I mentioned? It exists precisely to shield you from these 4 errors, day after day, for an entire lunar cycle, until recognizing the signal, integrating the shadow, and acting with clarity stops being an effort and becomes a habit. The first pinned comment is still there, waiting for you. So how in practice do you truly align with the 7-7 frequency without falling into any of these 4 errors? The answer is uncomfortably simple, and that's precisely why most people ignore it, because simplicity seems insufficient, like it's not enough, and the mind loves to complicate what truly only asks for presence. There is no complex ritual capable of replacing 4 elements: silence, presence, authenticity, and connection with the body. We've already talked about silence. It's the space without stimulation where the inner signal can be heard. Presence is the conscious decision to be where you are, doing what you are doing, without your mind racing 10 steps ahead or 10 steps behind. Authenticity is stopping from acting out the character you build for others, and starting to act from what you genuinely feel, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it goes against others' expectations. And connection with the body is perhaps the most neglected element of all in a culture that treats spirituality as a purely mental phenomenon. The body is the first to feel the portal, long before the mind can name what is happening. That pressure in your chest, that knot in your throat, that restlessness in your legs, this is sensory information that precedes thought. To ignore the body is to ignore the fastest and most honest messenger you have. So, in practice, today, at some point during the day, stop for a few minutes. Sit down, breathe, feel where in your body this energy of the day is manifesting. Don't analyze, just observe. Ask yourself internally, without rushing for an immediate answer, what am I avoiding seeing? And then simply listen, without forcing, without demanding. The answer may not come in words. It may come as a silent certainty, as an image, as a sudden urge to do something you've been postponing. Trust that more than you trust the noise of your own anxiety, trying to convince you that nothing is happening. Now here's the part that most people completely ignore, and it's precisely what separates those who truly cross a portal from those who only feel it pass from a distance. True transformation never happens during the portal. It happens afterward. It's in the integration that the message received today is converted into real life, or lost, swallowed by tomorrow's routine. You can have the most lucid perception of your life tonight, and if you do nothing with it in the next 48 hours, it will evaporate like a vivid dream that seemed impossible to forget upon waking, and that, 3 days later, you can barely remember the details of. Therefore, the recommendation is concrete. Record it. Write down today what you felt, what you perceived, even if it seems vague, even if it seems silly. Putting it into words is the first act of integration because it transforms diffuse sensation into accessible information, something you can revisit, something that doesn't depend on your volatile emotional memory. And then, choose a small, concrete, actionable step to take this week that is aligned with what you perceived. It doesn't have to be a lifelong decision. It can be a conversation you've been postponing, a habit you'll finally cut, a boundary you'll finally set. The portal gives you clarity. It's up to you to take the step that transforms clarity into real change. Without this step, today's experience becomes just another beautiful story you tell yourself, with no practical effect on your life. And it is precisely at this point, at the point where perception needs to become action, and most people get stuck because they don't know what the next, practical step. That structure makes all the difference between truly integrating or letting everything get lost again in another cycle of routine. This is exactly the void that Magia M28 Exercicios was designed to fill. A guided journey, day by day, to transform every loose insight into a concrete decision, without depending solely on your willpower in a fleeting moment of inspiration. If you felt today that the time has come to stop postponing your own clarity, the first pinned comment is the way. Comment "I decide now" before the urge to act dissolves again in tomorrow's rush, because that is exactly the trap that closes the window for the majority who are asleep. And we arrive then at what truly matters to understand about today. The 7/7 portal was never an isolated event. It does not end at midnight when the calendar turns. It is a transition point, the gateway to a new stage of your personal growth, not the growth itself. Whoever crosses this day with awareness, whoever protects its first hours, whoever avoids the 4 mistakes that sabotage most people, whoever connects with silence, presence, authenticity, and body, and whoever, especially, integrates what was received into concrete action in the coming days. That person is not just taking advantage of a date. They are building a solid foundation, a real foundation, upon which the next spiritual opportunities of the year will be supported with much more strength. Each portal you cross with awareness makes the next one easier to recognize, easier to inhabit, more aligned with the purpose that you are, little by little, ceasing to ignore. And that is why what you have just heard does not end here, within this video. It is just preparation. The real revelation of what this portal means for your next stage, for the next chapter of your story, is in the video that is appearing right now on your screen. Click on it. The first 60 seconds will reorganize how you see everything you felt today. And if you are not yet subscribed to this channel, understand one thing. Each video here is not an isolated piece of content. It is a coordinate on a larger map. The map of the entire spiritual year, of the energetic windows that are yet to come, of the cycles that connect to each other in a way that only makes sense when you follow the complete sequence. If you are not subscribed, you will continue to receive only loose pieces of this map, without ever seeing the whole picture. The next videos show exactly what happens after this window that opened today. And missing this sequence is losing the context that makes all of this make sense. The portal has already opened. The question that remains is not whether you felt it. You felt it, and we have already proven it together in the first few minutes. The question is what you will do with it in the coming hours. Comment, register, take the first small concrete step, and let the ground appear beneath your feet as you walk, because it never appears beforehand.